Hi, this is Sweet June coming back at you with another interesting video topic. I want to talk about the difference. Now, everybody got to work. Everybody got to work. Everybody got to punch somebody's time clock. Unless you have your own business and you don't have to worry about it, mostly everybody has to work on somebody's job, punch somebody's time clock. So I was marinating one day and I was thinking, what's more important, job satisfaction or money? Is job satisfaction more important or is money more important? That's a good question. I was marinating on that one day. I said that'd be a good video topic. Because my thought is if you're not making a lot of money on a job, it could be the difference between you liking that job and hating that job. I know there were some jobs where I wasn't making a whole lot of money and it made a big difference. It could really literally be the difference between if you're not making a lot of money, it can literally be the difference between you liking a job and hating it. And so um, I think that money is very, very important. I mean, money is very, very important. Um, like I said, it could be the difference between you hating a job and liking the job, you know, because sometimes when you working, not sometimes, a lot of times, you got to put up with a lot of things when you on a job. It's a lot of things that you have to deal with when you work in that job, and if you're getting paid a decent salary, um, it could make whatever it is that you're dealing with a little bit more tolerable. Um, I want to be self-employed because I want to be self-employed. I'm really at a point in my life to where I'm a little over punching a time clock. I want to get to a place to where I'm self-employed and I don't have to worry about punching somebody's time clock, being on somebody else's time. Somebody telling me that I got to be at work at this specific time, and my job is a little bit of mandatory overtime. So, you know, um, they might come and tell you, well, so and so didn't come to work. I need you to stay for a couple more hours and situations like that. And so a lot of times when you're punching the time clock, you don't have no say so um, of your time. That employer in a sense controls your time because if they want you, they need you to stay over, and it's required of you to stay over. You know, in most cases you don't have a choice. It required for you to keep your job that you stay over or you come to work a little early, put in a little overtime, and so whether you want to do it or not, and so you're at that employer's mercy. They, and my thought is, like I said, at this stage in my life, I'm ready to be self-employed, and that is my goal, is to be self-employed, and I can set my own hours, I can set my own schedule, and I can just kind of do my own thing. Um, I wanna mostly have that employment online. It'd be nice to uh, be a full time YouTuber, make so much money on here to where I don't have to punch a time clock. That would be nice. So maybe one day, I don't know. Maybe one day I can get to that place. As much as well as some other things that um, try to do some research and. But I would. That's the goal. That's what I would like to do one day. I would like to be self-employed. It would be nice, because like I said, when you punch in the time clock, it's a lot of things that you have to deal with punching the time clock. I don't know. I don't care how good of a job it is or whatever. Like I do. Like I said, I like my job, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's not perfect. No job is perfect, and there's certain things that you're going to have to deal with because of the fact that you are uh, working for this person, this employer. You are punching their time clock. So it's going to be some things that you're going to have to deal with. And so um, I know that job satisfaction is important too because um, if you hate your job, I know that I've had jobs to where I hated it. I absolutely hated the job. I just hated it. And I know I worked, and one time I worked at a county nursing home, and I just, these people winded up stressing me out. Well, first of all, the supervisor was a racist, and there was a couple other coworkers was racist. They was trying to get me fired in a sense, to make a long story short. And I was I had a kitchen position where I worked in the kitchen, and I never liked working in the kitchen. I do have a lot of food service experience to the point to where I probably could be a cook if I wanted to, but I don't like working in the kitchen. The person only kitchen that I like to be in is my kitchen in my house. I don't like working in a kitchen, in a commercial kitchen, or I just don't like food service. I just don't like it. I've never liked food service work. I've done it, but I've never liked it. And so that's not, when I go to look for a job, that I don't be checking for them kind of jobs, even though I got a lot of experience in it, because I don't like it. And so when I worked at the county nursing home, it got to the point to where I really, really hated that job. I got to the point, and because I was having a lot of problems with the management and co-workers and things like that. And plus, on top of that, I hated the actual job. I hated the job. I didn't like the job. So I was making decent money at the time. I think I was making a little over $10 an hour at the time. This was the early 2000s. And so I just quit. I just quit one day because I got to the point to where I was so stressed out, and I was looking for another job. And to make a long story short, I prayed about it and everything, and I took a leap of faith. I took a leap of faith, and I put my 2 weeks in. I literally woke up and did not realize I was going to quit my job that day, but I went in and I took a leap of faith, and I prayed about it, and I took a leap of faith and put my 2 weeks in, because I was just at the end of my rope, literally at the end. When you get at the end of your rope, you get up, you're on a job, and you get at the end of your rope, it's time to bounce. I don't know about you guys, but I get to the place to where I get to the end of my rope, it's time for me to go. And I just could not take it anymore. I just, and I think that the management was going to try to fire me anyway, but we were in a union shop, and when you're in a union shop, they can't just fire you. Whereas versus an at will employer, if you're an at will employer, they can say, "Oh, I don't like your shoes, you're fired. Get out of here." Or they don't have to give you a reason to fire you. That's an at will employer. But when you're dealing with a union, they can't just fire you for any reason. They have to literally build up a paper trail and series of write-ups or whatever. And I think that's what the supervisor was trying to do. Was trying to write me up over different stuff, and was trying to build this paper trail on me. And because she didn't like me, she was a racist. I was gonna come on out with it. And so, uh, and there was a couple other coworkers that were racist. They were trying to make my job miserable, my life miserable on the job. I just couldn't mentally and emotionally deal with it anymore. So, I said, I'm gonna take a leap of faith, and I had to bounce, and I was making decent money on that job. Matter of fact, to be perfectly honest, uh, I left that job in 2002. This job, I'm gonna go up to $10 an hour. This is the first time that I've been able to match that salary since since 2002. That's sad. That's really sad. This is the first job that I was able to actually match that salary. Uh, because when I left there, I was making a little over $10 an hour, and this job I'm gonna be making a little over $10 an hour next month. So this is the first time since I left that job I was able to match that salary. Go figure. The struggle is real out here. So, but at that particular time, I really hated to walk away from the money. But at that particular time, And if I had been still working there, I probably would have been making $12, $13 an hour by now had I stayed. But it was no way I wanted to stay. Uh, I just was not happy. I was miserable. I was really stressed out. Having chest pains, headaches, and things like that. And I was only in my early 30s, and those things should not be taking place when you're in your early 30s. And so I knew that I was dealing with a lot of stress. And so at that particular time, I just felt like it just wasn't, the money just wasn't worth it. It just wasn't worth it. When you get to a place on a job where you're just so stressed out to the point to where it's starting to affect your health, at the end of the day, the money is not worth it anymore. Because at the end of the day, you have to realize that your health is more important than anybody's job. You have to put your health first. Because if you don't have your health, you can't make money. You can't make money if you don't have your health. If you got high blood pressure or whatever, and you start having heart problems and things like that, you cannot work. And so you have to put your health first. And so I was getting stressed out to the point to where it was starting to affect me not only mentally and emotionally, but it was also starting to affect me physically. And I was like, no, I got to bounce. So, and I still do not regret that decision, because I didn't like the job in itself. And then I had these other stressors on the job, the supervisor, these two people on the job that was trying to get me fired and stressing me out. And at the end of the day, the job in itself was stressful. So at the end of the day, it just came to the conclusion that it just wasn't worth it anymore. And so if you get to that place to where a job starts to affect you mentally, physically, and especially physically, you start having, and the physical symptoms of stress is chest pains, headaches. That's your body's way of saying that I'm stressed. It's affecting. Stress affects every organ in your body. Your brain is like creates a defense mechanism against in efforts to cope with the stress. But after a while, if you keep going through the stress over an extended period of time, it's you mentally you start to break down, and if you start to break down mentally, then it goes into your body, and your body can no longer fight it, and build up a resistance against it. And then that's when you start getting your your heart palpitations and chest pains and headaches, and you can even uh, work up an ulcer. You can work up an ulcer and have problems with your stomach, your digestive system, and everything. So it is, at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. There is no job that's more important than your health, because if you pass away, that same day they're gonna put your job up on the internet or whatever, looking for somebody else to replace you. It's gonna be business as usual. So you got to put yourself first. It's not a job. You gotta be able to go to work and have a peace of mind. You got to be able to go to work and not be all stressed out. And that's one of the things I love about the job that I have now, because the stress level on this job is so minimal. I mean, because I work by myself, and because I work in the AFC part of the house, and the level of the stress level is very low on this job, and I love it, and so that makes a big difference to me. That's worth its weight in gold. I think I'd rather take a little bit less money, um, and have a job where the stress level is very low and I don't have to deal with a lot of stress, and I can kind of halfway get some enjoyment out of my job, than to make, 13, 12, $13 an hour, but the stress level is way up here, and I'm extremely stressed out and all that. I mean, so at the end of the day, um, I think it would be safe to say that job satisfaction is probably more important than money. You know, money is very, very important, but if you're making a lot of money and your stress level is way up here, or your job is trying to. I know we have a factory that, um, in this city that I live in. We have what they call an industrial park, where there is a lot of factories. It's a lot of automotive factories where they make, each factory makes a different car part. You know, like each factory makes specialized in different parts of the cars. And so, and we got some foreign ones out there too. And so, and it's a lot of them out there. It's a lot of them. You know, you go to work for one of them, and if you get canned at one, then you can go work for another one, because a lot of times you have to go through the employment agency to get these jobs. So you go to the employment agency to get these jobs, and you sign up to work at one factory. If things don't work out at that factory, uh, then the employment agency can hook you up with another one, and you can be in another one in no time flat. My youngest son kind of went through a little merry-go-round with that. Um, the only problem is that they're so far out, you got to have transportation to get there. And so, but somebody I know, there is one factory out there that they want you to work 12-hour days, 7 days a week. And this factory has a high turnover rate. They're constantly hiring people all the time. It has a very, very high turnover rate because, um, well, physically, your body's going to break down after a while. If you work a 12-hour shift 7 days a week, physically, your body is going to break down. It's going to take a toll on you mentally, emotionally, physically, you know. And these people know this, but they still work people like that. Go figure. So as a result, they can't keep nobody. They have a high turnover rate. So I would have to say it's safe to say that job satisfaction is more important than money, because if you're satisfied with your job, uh, then, and and that goes, like I say, that everything goes under that umbrella. The time that you spend on that job, because if you're working too many hours, you're gonna be stressed to a point. Your management, all those things goes under that umbrella. That determines your satisfaction on the job. And so, and if you work in a job and you have minimal stress and you fairly enjoy your job, and those things are more important than money at the end of the day, because if all those things are affected, then the money is not going to be as important, because your health is more important than money. So yeah, I think it would be safe to say job satisfaction is more important than money, in my opinion. So even though money is very important, but it's not more important than your health, not more important than your peace of mind. So what I want you guys to do is let me know in the comment section, sound off in the comment section, and let me know what you think. Is job satisfaction more important, or is money more important? What's more important to you, or what do you think is more important? Sound off in the comment section for me. I got some more interesting video topics coming up, so stay tuned. I need you to like, subscribe, and share this video. So, peace and love. God bless. This is Sweet Jim.